Hello guys, it's been a little while since I recorded a video just for YouTube, so this is a little bit surreal. Other than the chanting video that went up the other day, which was on the fly channeling, it had to be done, it had to be said, it had to be recorded and uploaded. It's one of those spiritual moments. Must share, quick, do it. So there's going to be a few updates, a few kind of like little bits and tidbits of information here before we move into the video itself of Dirt and Bone Reclaiming the Wild. It's kind of a requested video, and at the very, very tail end there will be products to do with that, as well as other announcements around this energy, because this is an important energy which led to 2 sessions of channeling. One was the one that's already on the channel, the other is a poem that is on the blog, and I will be reading that as part of this, but we'll get to that towards the poetry towards the beginning, but the rest of that towards the tail end of the video. So a few updates, just to let you know what's been happening, why there's not so many videos, this, that, and the other, and then we'll get into the meat of the video. So if you don't want to listen to the updates, you probably skip about 5 minutes or so and just get into the meat of it. So firstly, if you've been following me on the Facebook Lives, or with the podcast, which is still open, you know, if you guys are interested in the podcasts, and anywhere else really, you'll know that I continuously have to have Viking music in my ears. So if I suddenly am like, ha, it's because I've got Viking music in my ears. And the reason for that is the noise in this apartment building is abominable. It is shocking. It is less distracting for me to have Viking music in my ears with Vikings shouting ha than it is the rest of the noise in this apartment building. It is appalling. Magic is underway, and it's just, and it kind of puts me off making videos, actually, like all videos and things, because I'm having to fight against the noise. And if I'm doing things like ritual on video where I don't have music in my ears, it's very, very irritating. And the other side of that is when I was doing a meditation for somebody, I used free to use music in the background. I went and found it, free to use music, all the rest of it, and then somebody tries to claim it's theirs, tried to claim the video, which is another problem that I'm having right now with YouTube, is the general YouTube energy is just toxic, and there's like the claiming and the discredit things of videos that's going on a lot, especially if you're not in the main tier of what is acceptable right now, which is Christian channel and like family friendly. If you follow any of the gaming channels, you know that they've had a lot of trouble in ridiculous ways. Musicians have had things in ridiculous ways, and there's been a lot of censorship in general. So YouTube is like a general entity, like a platform, is kind of right now. It's not great, which is why there has been less videos. But I was looking at the YouTube energy and looking at what is popular right now and like the lack of substance, and I've decided to double down rather than just completely quit YouTube. So I went and I had a real long think about it, and I've been making videos for Becoming a Living God, and I've been doing things like in different social platforms, but I was like, you know what, I'm really needing to double down. So everything is going to get weirder, and we're going to have a whole host of videos about this. We've already had one, we're going to have more, but not really within this video. That's kind of an underlying theme within this video, but not like the major one. So there's that. Let me just think. Oh, the competition is still going ahead. The giveaway is still going ahead. I am accumulating stuff to give away. There's a box right over there, a big white box with, I think I've got about 10 to 20 things in there already. I'm going to make things as well, and it's just going to be a whole host of really great things as part of the giveaway for the 10,000 to give back to you guys. There's been no spooky box last month because I still haven't sent it out yet, and we're nearly at, well, we're about halfway to this month's, so it's a whole host of a mess right now. They're claiming it's FedEx's fault for not delivering something. There is real issues with deliveries right now, and the mail and the post, because everything for some reason is taking 3 times as long as it should, which is thrilling. Also, if you guys did not know, I was ill for 2 weeks, bedridden and sick with the flu, and Asbjorn's coming down with it right now. So that kind of interfered with the natural flow of things as well. Also, however, I did get a essay up on House of Twigs, which was enormous for me, really awesome, and it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. So that is about the updates. Oh, there is one last thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you some Beltane things, which are on the store right now. I'm really, really pleased with these little cuties. Let me get the title up so I can read to you. They are the energy flight of the Dilandi, and I thought this was really cool because basically the Dilandi is the ancient Irish term for butterfly, and I kind of had done butterfly energy for Beltane on instinct, on intuition. I just like, oh, I'm feeling a bit like this. I think we need something a bit lighter this year. I've already got like the heavier burning items on the store. So I've got like the balefires, which is like this dark, rich, fiery goodness on the store already, deep and sexy and sensual and all that. And we've got the meadow one, which is like the kind of frivolous but fun out in the meadows worshipping nature energy. So I thought we kind of want like a fae, like a joy, that kind of stuff. And I came across this as I was beginning to write up for the energies. The Dilandi in the ancient Irish language, its precise meaning is somewhat elusive, for as well as meaning butterfly, it also refers to the brightness or lightning of the gods and to the magic flame of the balefire or the need fire. And I was like, it's good when your witch finger's on the pulse and it works out. That's awesome. So it's very much about remembering joy, even though we've had some difficulty through metamorphosis. And that kind of feeds into the video quite nicely as well, actually. So I'm just going to show you guys these three little, oh, I do have the oil as well, but the anointing oil, but I haven't got one of those with me. So, oh dear, there we go. Shimmy, 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 shimmy. Backing music doesn't go well with shimmy, shimmy. And last but not least, the absolutely gorgeous pink salts, which I can't tip too far, or they'll go all over everywhere. Woo! Okay, so that's the updates because I've not been on YouTube for a little while. Thank you guys for bearing with me with the updates. And we're now going to talk about Of Dirt and Bone. So Of Dirt and Bone is an energy that came through, channeled, originally when I was doing some work with one of my clients, and it had been on my mind anyway, so it was really interesting to me that that kind of fed into client work, and it kind of rolled and became and expanded and really filled into an energetic space of the themes of this year and how I had been feeling, how I had been kind of musing around different things. And if you followed me on Facebook, you know that I had gotten to the point where I felt like we need to take a stand for authenticity. We need to take a stand for non-formulaic spirituality. We need to take individuality. We need to reclaim and really nourish our souls, because a lot of the standardized stuff that's coming out now is just flatlining. It's flatlining my interest. It's flatlining my engagement. I'm bored. I'm really, really bored of what is ultimately beauty bloggers turned Wiccan energy, and they're at the front of everything, and this is what is popular and getting seen. And I have zip interest in this. Zip, zero, none. I think it is dull. I think it doesn't excite. It doesn't take us deeper. It doesn't challenge us, and we just go around in the same circle and never really pushing past. And so Dirt and Bone energy came to me moving on through this, moving through the channeled We Are the Weirdos energy that is already on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to read to you Of Dirt and Bone, and it addresses me and it addresses the females in my life, but I'm going to say right here, right now, there is no gender specificness on reclaiming your wild self. So this is the poem. Woman, you rose up from dirt and earthiness. You were not conceived by the stars to shrink into nothingness. Show me your scars, the bruises of spirit that mark who you are. Scream from the places that you don't show, mapped on the inside. Hear me when I tell you 1,000 times on 1,000 shores, I will break these chains as I did once before. You will not shackle us again. Remember the grit of who you are, the lines marked in blood. Memories of silt-stained imprint, soot marks left behind. There is fire in your bones, unquenching, to consume and char away all chaff. Bitter husks lay dormant as they cinder, burn to the live wire. Raw, indomitable woman, discard all that would subdue your breath. Rise up, dirty, bloody, and alive. It kind of helped that the Viking music kind of kicked in like as well at that point, so that's really fun. And this energy, this dirt and bone energy, is something which I'm going to take and I'm going to push into every direction that I can with this, because I feel like it's really important to reclaim. We're living in a world which, frankly, right now is becoming more and more hostile. I had engaged with this energy before I had watched the news, and like I had stayed away from the news all week. And when I saw what was going on in the world, that there is energies of attack, there is energies of warfare, there is energies of self-entitled bullshit, and all of this going on in the world, I was like, this world is just getting bleaker and bleaker and bleaker, and we were encouraged to conform out of fear. I think that like fear is becoming, even more than it has been in a long, long time, the currency of control. Fear has become the currency by which we are controlled. We are told that we are supposed to look a certain way, worship a certain way, love a certain way, and be a certain way, be quiet, present ourselves, bow down to the people in authority, and never challenge, never question, never break the mold. And I cannot abide that one bit. Break the mold. Break the damn mold. And I'm going to read to you something that I shared on Instagram the other day, which, by the way, is a really great way to get hold of me if you're like, where on earth have you been, Joey? And I have to say that, honestly, Instagram is probably the best place to get hold of me because I enjoy it a lot more. So this is what I wrote about this energy yesterday, from the idea of non-conformity, of breaking the mold. I will say break the mold has been a energy on Story-Eyed Facebook page and like my social media platforms before, as well as Rock Your Weird, and those two themes underline this one as well. So break the mold. That's what we're all about. Scream, shout. And when they tell you it ain't the norm, you tell them we won't fucking conform. I really like the phrase, the meme, we're going to get weirder and stranger and watch the dinosaurs die out. It's a longer meme than that. But that idea, that resilience, that resistance, #resist, is something that I think is really important. I've watched this really interesting push-pull energy as people resist the conformity, and then people come down on these people for resisting. They call them snowflakes. They call them attention seekers. There are people who are standing up for women's rights and human rights and all the things that they feel the need to, and people are trying to censor them. And censorship is rife right now. And don't get me wrong, the PC side of things also tries to censor and stop people from speaking. And this is not helpful. This is not depth. This is not true. And this censorship that is bleeding through every area of online, because they want to control online, because it's currently, freedom of information for the most part. this bleeding of conformity, this bleeding of control into every area of life, including the witch circles, is nuts to me. Witches and magicians, and however you wish to affix yourself a label if you must, I prefer not to, but for the sake of ease, are meant to be on the fringes. We're meant to be on the edges. We're meant to be other. We're meant to be engaging with our otherness. We're meant to be looking beyond what we can see with our physical eyes. We're meant to be challenging and questioning and seeking, because without seeking, spirituality is stagnant. Spirituality is dead. Spirituality is pointless. It can empower you. It can give you control over your own life, but it is more than just that. It's more than just following what one book says. As far as I'm concerned, I reject the idea that one book written by human beings can tell us how we should live, or what we should do, or how we should speak. And because of that, I reject every element of that idea of behavior. I will not conform. And that is the essence of what this energy, this dirt and bone energy, is all about. Why dirt and bone? Well, the energy reminded me of when women run with the wolves, of the Lobo singing over the bones. It reminded me a lot of that book in a lot of different ways. And I think what's interesting is a lot of us want to reclaim our wild selves, and we're not entirely sure how to do it. I've had this conversation a number of times recently. When you want to get back to something raw and primal and other, and what it means to be a witch to you as an individual, because there is no one answer what it means to be spiritual, a witch, an occultist, a magician, whatever it might be, a seeker, a path walker, whatever name. Again, names, I'm not keen on them, but for the sake of ease. But basically, it has to be in your bones. You have to believe things in your bones, because shallow surface living is not enough. And that's what we're getting spoon-fed every minute of every day right now, is spoon-fed opinion, spoon-fed the right way to do something, spoon-fed shallow shit like that's enough, and it's not. We need to be burning with the passions of which we stand for. It's not enough to take from here and take from there and replicate and regurgitate. It's not. You're supposed to be elevating. You're supposed to be creating. It's supposed to be deep in your bones, in the soul of who you are. And bones kind of is a really fascinating part of witchcraft, that it shouldn't create a dichotomy. It shouldn't create arguments. It shouldn't create this idea of that's bad or negative witchcraft, but it does, because people look at that kind of thing and they're like, oh, well, that must be coming from a negative place because it's tied in with death energies. And what is death? Fear. We're afraid of death energies. And like I said earlier, fear is what rules a lot of this need to conform and comply and like bow down and be smaller. So the fear of things that witches represent as they walk those lines between life and death, which they have always done, whether it be in the terms of like midwifery, death midwifery, and it's like my dear Chris engages in, and looking at spirits, spirit work, contacting spirits, working with spirits, speaking to the dead, divination, which is a little bit beyond the energies of life and death. It's raw, it's primal, and it's a little bit dangerous. Now, I've written in a blog post before, and it's one of my favorite things to regurgitate, not replicate. It's one of my favorite things to touch back on at this point, because I wrote it. I didn't replicate it. Shine, babies, shine your own shine. That's something really important right now. I had the ancestor going, shine, in my own head. Anyway, so the thing that I wrote, sorry, ancestors and music and that kind of got sidetracked, but that's me. I'm going to sidetrack. I'm going to sing at you. I'm going to shake my finger and wiggle, because this is my personality. This is who I am. And we've been forgetting that personality is key. And like face value fake personality is so spoon-fed to us in so many ways. Like the cult of personality, the cult of celebrity is shocking. Back to the original line of thought, please, Joey, because we went off. Witchcraft is dangerous, but so are we. The human race is not placid. We can be dangerous, we can be deadly, we can be scary individuals when we want to be. And we've kind of sanitized over what it means to be human in a lot of ways. We've lost touch with the ancient ways. I kind of hate the phrase ancient ways, 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 because it puts on this kind of like importance of older is better, and I don't believe in that either. I feel evolution is key. Learning, relearning, reclaiming, bringing back, reevaluating, evolving past. We are recalling your wildness down to the core of who you are, in your bones, in your soul, in your places of fire, the goddess of old places, roots, and tying that into the spiritual ecosystem, which is something that I talk about a lot. If you guys have been with me for any length of time, particularly with a podcast, but here I'm going to just recover what I believe the spiritual ecosystem kind of is in terms of an energetic system. I believe everything and everyone is interconnected throughout the spiritual ecosystem, as within, so without. And all around us in the world, everything is connected in ecosystems. The way that roots of trees are interconnected, the way that everything relies on one another, the energetic roots and tendrils that intertwine and create the spiritual ecosystem. It's a little bit like a brain, like a massive spiritual brain with neurons firing and creating neural pathways and interconnectedness like that. It's a little bit abstract, but I know what I mean, and hopefully I've verbalized that enough to make sense. So why dirt and bone then? Why dirt? Well, ladies and gentlemen, dirt is a valuable commodity, and yet we have sanitized the hell out of dirt. We have made it so that dirt is a bad, negative word. It's dirt. To have dirt on someone, dirty, you're dirty, or like I say, dirty. That is from Black Books, and points if you've seen that or understand what I'm talking about, because dirty, and that's my earbud falling out. Professionalism. But I'm going to leave it in because I'm so sick of over-edited beasts. Going back to the earth, things grow in the earth. Dirt is necessary for life. We plant the seeds in the dirt, and the dirt nourishes along with the rain and the sun, and things grow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we have sanitized out of our lives for a large part. I was talking to Avalon, and she talked about a ritual of rewilding where the consideration was burying themselves up to the neck in dirt. I've talked to people who talk about bleeding on the earth, who, like Chris talks about this. The people who get their fingers in the dirt. And then I have talked about all the different kinds of dirt other than graveyard dirt, which is really famous or infamous depending on your perspective. There are many, many different kinds of dirt. I'm going to be covering that in the future at some point somewhere else, about all my different interactions with different kinds of dirt and how I feel about it. Hoodoo's a little bit closer with their appreciation of dirt with that than perhaps some of the Western analyses of dirt is, but like we need these. We need the earth. We need to cleanse the earth. We need to stop treating the earth like a commodity that we keep bleeding oil and damage and toxicity and rubbish back into. It's just part and parcel of rewilding, getting back to what it means to be wild in connection with the earth rather than using the earth. So there's that energy here too. And I'm going to just go through the poetry again, because I feel like that will help us formulate what I mean by reclaiming wild through dirt and earth. So you rose up from dirt and earthiness. This is talking a little bit here, as well as the next line, about one of my favorite quotes. I have a few favorite quotes. One is, "You were wild once. Don't let them tame you." That one. But the one I'm talking about here is, "Be humble for you are made of earth, but be noble for you are made of stars." And I think there's a lovely balance there between not being an arrogant arse in your wilding and not being like so full of yourself that you can't learn, or you can't admit that perhaps you need to grow in certain places. Arrogance is the defeating element of a spiritual life to me, and it doesn't get you anywhere. So From dirt and earthiness, you rose up. You rose of dirt. You created, you grew from a place of seed. You were not conceived by the stars, again, interconnectedness, and we are all made of stardust, to shrink into nothingness. Now, I think this is something that a lot of really, really potent, powerful, beautiful, incredible spiritual beings do. They shrink because they are ashamed on some level, fear again, or they have been taught that they should be quiet, shame again, into fear again, or they feel that they are taking up too much space. So they shrink back and they don't shine. And that's what was like ancestors earlier were like, shine, baby, shine. Show me your scars. Now, this doesn't have to mean physical scars, although it can. There's the bruises of spirit that mark who you are, because change, growth, spirituality is alchemy of the self, which is forged from the fire and the breaking down and the re-emergence of self. Spirituality isn't easy, and I'm not interested if it was. If it's been flatlining, flat sailing, boring, never challenging, never changing, never interacting with life, then how anybody has managed that is beyond me. That's like living in a box. We're living in a cardboard box. We're living in a box. And for me, that is not what spirituality is. I mean, okay, my spirituality is more organic, so it's kind of defined by the struggle, by the change, by the alchemy, like the burning, the creation, the this really, really hurts, this really, really sucks, I'm going to get through this, nails, clawing, going to get through it, victory for a moment before the next thing. And people have such issue with that, you know, life is tumultuous, life is difficult, life is pain. And it's like Princess Bride has this down. Life is pain, princess. Anyone who tells you differently is selling something. So scream from the place. Okay, if you want to sit on my shoulder, fine, you do that. Sit. Right. Okay. Scream from the places that you don't show, mapped on the inside. So screaming is something which I've talked about before, the sanitization of the scream, that's on the blog, and how people are afraid to truly full on express who they are. Death screaming, of course, also brings and channels in a little element of Babe here, who's my mama, like the main element aspect of the Morrigan with whom I work, that you don't show, mapped on the inside. I think there is a huge, huge well of knowledge of the things that we do not show, we do not talk about, that we have experienced, that we are ashamed of again, and they create a map, internal map of who we are, very much like the spiritual ecosystem, the creation of like spiritual veins, a spiritual nourishment within, that sometimes people are just, they feel ashamed to share that, and I don't feel that that's the way. And then this is actually something that I channeled. Hear me when I tell you. This is something that I channeled from the Morrigan. This was a part of my actual process of going through this myself. Because when I come here to talk to you about this dirt and earth, it's because I have been through it. I was in ritual for like almost 2 weeks solidly going through this, exercising pain, engaging in strength, pushing, pulling, feeling, hurting, getting back to self. On 1,000 times on 1,000 shores, I break these chains as I did once before. You will not shackle us again. And basically the lesson with all of this is spirituality is meant to empower you. You are not a slave. And obviously, people feel very strongly about the word and the history of the word. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into an argument that you have no right to talk about it because you're white, basically, is the argument. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in censorship. So I will honor and fight for rights of everybody. I will respect the rights of everyone. I will respect the fact that I don't understand the struggles that different people from different walks of life go in, and I will support them best I can, but I will not be told that I should be censored because of anything like that. So remember the grit of who you are, the lines marked in blood. That's twofold, so like blood on the face, in terms of like battle, paint. It's also lines of the blood within the self, although I don't particularly feel that the blood in our veins in terms of ancestry makes huge amounts of difference. Blood in our veins, however, is powerful in its magic and its symbology, if you like. Memories of silt-stained imprint, soot marks left behind. There is fire in your bones, unquenching. And this is about inner power, inner fire. Boom, the marks that we leave on the world, soot from the fire. To consume and char away all the chaff, better husk lay dormant as they cinder, burn down to the live wire. This is something, again, that I've been through with Morrigan taking me to the underworld, which is in a blog post, and it was all about burning all the rotting chaff. Just burn it all down. Create new, fertile dirt. Raw, indomitable woman, discard all that would subdue your breath. Rise up, dirty, bloody, and alive. And that's kind of the overarching theme, the overarching energy of dirt and bone. So I've explained in this getting quite long video these energies. I'm going to show you some products. I am going to say that this video is not going to be the entirety of this. I'm actually 99% certain that I want to do a course about this because this matters to me, and there is so much information that I want to share that I feel like a course would be the best way to do it for those people who are interested. For the lady whose products these are, and for anybody interested in these in the future, right? These are the of dirt and bone. So we have a spelt oil, anointing oil, a realm candle for journeying, and the powder. So first and foremost, we have the spelt oil. Okay, where's the light? The light is not going to be the best in here for this. There are pictures on Instagram and on Facebook. So the idea behind the spelt oils, it creates it's almost a wild wood because the woods are not separate from dirt and bone and earth to me. It creates roots. It creates the physical, tangible element of rooting, of growing up from those places of roots in dirt and earth. And it mirrors the kind of spiritual ecosystem within the self. So the energy for these items is connecting to all of these energies, which I have talked about at length. It is about helping you to connect to that primal, ancient, raw energy, reclaiming your otherness through ritual and magic, burning and remembering and honoring your passions, recalling your wildness down to the core, to your bones, to help you to reject conformity, reject being told who you should be, and connect to goddesses of the old places, in particular roots. And to me, the goddesses of the old places of roots and things are kind of like the dark goddess energies. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. So there's that. Then we have the realm candle. So this is the sigil, the channeled sigil, and I create sigils for each of these realm candles. So it's not just candle in a jar because I felt like it. No, these are realm candles. Realm candles, and oh, and there's a smudge. Sorry, I forgot about the smudge. The smudge is right there, and I forgot. So the sigils are the extra little bit on the top of the lid, and they give you something to focus on. So when your candle is burning, those are shimmering away, and it gives you a place to go from your third eye into a sigil and to connect to the energy behind the sigil in order for trance work or journey work or meditation work. And the idea behind the realm journey candles is that they are created energy layer by energy layer, color choice by decoration choice, if you like, to create an energy, to move you, to shift your energy, to assist you in journeying. So this is Temple of Dirt and Bone. I don't know how well the colors will show, again, because of the camera lighting is strange in this house, but it's a very, 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 very dark purple. It is basically a bruise color, and the bruise is in the poetry. Show me the bruise spirit. Let me find the actual line, because show me your scars, the bruises of spirit that mark who you are. So it follows from the poetry, which came first, and I knew I wanted this deep, deep purple. Music choice, no, to create that bruise, that earth, that dirtiness. So it wasn't just brown. And there is sovereignty, there is strength, there's the swirling of that ancient primal connection to this priestess of bone and dirt, and how she looks, and she kind of has her face covered. She has kind of like a white shawl over, and then like strings coming off, so you can't quite see her face. And then the rest of her is kind of like very hedge-witchy, very shambly, long shawl, brown, reaching down. It's kind of like twisted and haggard, but it's not. It's like Babe when Babe appears like a leper, or like twisted and haggard, and she's not. It's a challenging your perception energy, which is what this is all about, is challenging perception and finding truth and strength within yourself. So traveling to that energy is the point of the round candle. It's also the smell and the energetic energy behind the temple of dirt and bone. I basically just inhaled herbs there. I was like, oh, herbal smell. And the energetic energy behind the smudges is, of course, layer by layer, scent by scent, created to energize you, to change your vibration in order to create an energetic temple around you. That's why the smudges are called temple of every single time, because, well, apart from breathe. Breathe is literally, and Phoenix is literally that too, but still. Anyway, as they progressed, they all became temple of something for that reason. The smudges aren't just smudges, they're built layer by layer, scent by scent, weaved magic all the way through, everything picked on instinct and intuition, and creating an energy that basically weaves and creates an energetic vortex and takes you to the temple of dirt and bone in this case. So the temple of dirt and bone is literally a temple of dirt and bone. To me, it was a large circle at night, and it was on the edges of the woods. So there's woods in the background, but this was like of its own space in the dirt, like and domed in, and there were like bones scattered around. And this figure, this priestess, this maybe a little bit haggard, maybe Babe in disguise, maybe one of the dark goddesses in disguise, depending on you, is in the center, and she's like pulling up dirt, and it was that energy. Then that's the visuals that I got from it. Then we have the anointing oil, which I want one of these, so I'm going to make myself one. It's deep, dark earth. It's deep, dark earth and bone. I don't really know how to describe this scent to you. There's a tiny little undertone that kind of picks it up and creates a point of interest. And so it's not all like earthy and decaying leaves, and that energy is on top, that woodsy, decaying earth, deep, dark earth. It's kind of sexy in itself, actually, but that's a matter of opinion. But then there is a little kind of uplifting sprig underneath, which lightens it, so it's not too heavy. It's one of my favorite anointing oils currently. And then last but not least is something that I absolutely adore. And originally the lady had asked for salts, and I was like, is it okay if I change the salts? Because I've had this idea and this kind of message channeled. And she was like, do it. And I was like, thank the maker, or I would have just done it anyway. I'd be like, so this is dirt and bone powder. There is bone filings in here, coyote bone scrapings in here. I felt like coyote worked well with these energies because it's perception, it's trickster, it's moving around what is considered to be acceptable, normal, conformity, blah blah blah. Coyotes don't do that at all. It's like, no, we're going to find a way around, we're going to find a way around, we're going to find a new way, we're going to challenge, we're going to be a bit playful, we're going to be a bit naughty, all that kind of good stuff. And then of course there is definitely different kinds of dirt in here, and it creates just a dirt and bone powder, which is just perfect for this energy, and is really good for, like, you know, that energy that I told you about, that visualization of that dirt circle. You can create your own dirt circle. So there you go. If you don't know what dirt powders are used for in general, I will be doing some more work on different types of dirt powder coming soon. I'm considering where I'm going to put that. It may be here, it may be Patreon, it may be everywhere, it might be as part of the course, I'm not sure. maybe part of the course, because that would make a huge amount of sense. And I really do want to do that. So that's something that's going to be coming up. I'm going to be writing out the ideas today. I'm going to be writing around it. And then I'll let you guys know during this time. So thank you for bearing with me through this video. I will see you soon on one platform or another. The other platforms are better than YouTube, I have to say. But for the time being, stay true, like he says. Stay flexy, like I say. And more than anything, be true to you. Many blessings, guys.